Welcome to the surface harvesting tutorial. Rocks containing ore on the surface are a good way to make some money early on. You can sell the ore at a market or transform it into pure materials for more profit. Follow the green line to the main room. Tier 1 ores are the most common in surface harvesting. Surface rocks have a slightly different appearance, but I will show them to you outside. Tier 2 ores in the display to your right are rarer on the surface and consequently they will fetch a higher price at the market. I put a waypoint near to some surface ores for you. Reach it to continue. Take out the surface harvesting tool. Typically the first item in your tool. To mine ores on the surface, aim at the rock and hold the left mouse button. There should be different types of ores around you. Nearby you should find Tier 1 ores. Bauxite glows orange while hematite appears more yellow. Harvest one of each. In order to make some pure iron, we need 65 liters of hematite. I will guide you, but you can harvest any hematite rock you find. Pure materials will yield more quantas at the market. I will show you how to transform the ore you collected. Open your nanocrafter with the crafting key. Click on the Show Only Doable button to see what recipes are possible with the ores in your inventory. The recipe to make pure iron is simply to refine hematite. The quantity of hematite required can be reduced with talents. Click the Add to Queue button to start the process. You do not need to watch the UI. You can close this window and start walking back to the station. Once you reach the container marked with a waypoint, open it with the Interact key. Put the pure iron in the container. Click on the Close button in the top right to close the container. Good job. One easy way to do surface gathering is by claiming a territory on the Sanctuary Moon. All minerals on the moon are protected until the territory they are present in is claimed. There are shuttles that will take you to the Sanctuary Moon in every district on Alioth. You can exit the tutorial by reaching the marked teleporter and interacting with it. Welcome back home. It is time to build your base, where you will be able to deploy containers, resurrection nodes, or surrogate VR stations. When you are ready, find a spot you like, go into your inventory and double-click on the core unit you just bought. You will be able to deploy it on the ground. If your territory is still in a pending state, just wait a few minutes. Welcome to the basic mining tutorial. I am Ophelia, your guide. In this tutorial you will learn how to locate and mine ores. To begin, you've activated the scanner tool. This piece of technology will pinpoint ore at a distance. It is your primary tool for locating profitable veins of ore. On the right-hand side is the distance, in meters, at which you can scan. Using this you'll narrow down your search. The center graph reveals any detected ores. Each is represented on the graph by a dot and line colored for that specific ore. Your starting scanner has a range limit of 200 meters. This can be expanded through acquiring talents. I've gone ahead and marked a waypoint for you to reach. Move towards it while letting your scanner do its work. Notice that as you walk the scanner pulses. This happens automatically every few meters. When this occurs, it will update the graph on the scanner, giving you a real-time view on how far veins of ore are relative to your position. Head towards the waypoint to continue. You can also filter the ores the scanner detects. Press Tab to learn how. Pressing Tab locks the HUD so you can interface directly with the scanner. Click on this is the scanner calibration screen. Through this menu you'll be able to customize exactly how your scanner will behave by adjusting the filtering options. In this tutorial we will only be scanning for Tier 1 ores. To continue, click on the other tier columns to disable them. Now that you have disabled those tiers, they will not be appearing on the scanner. You can customize the filtering options as needed to target specific resources. Try it yourself. Let's refine your search even further. Now take a look above the tier columns at the range option. By clicking long or short range, you will swap the scan diameter of your scanner. We'll be adjusting that later when we are closer to some ore. Now close the scanner calibration screen with Tab. You'll notice that your displayed scanner now has an additional row of icons underneath it. This represents all of the materials you disabled on your filter. Adjusting that filter will likewise change the displayed materials in this row. Keep your scanner active and head towards the next waypoint to continue. You can also trigger a pulse manually. This can be useful when stationary or in tight confines. To continue, trigger a pulse by holding the mod up. Using manual scan will typically be most useful when underground where movement is less free, and the need for precise scanning is higher. Let's continue. Move to the next waypoint. Think of scanning for ore as a game of hot and cold. You're trying to find the best location by investigating your region to locate the strongest potential place to dig. Doing so is most easily accomplished by picking a spot on your minimap, and then checking the cardinal directions around it. Start by heading towards the waypoint I've set to the north. As you travel, monitor your scanner graph to keep an eye on the relative position of the ore you're hunting. You can see here we're just over 100 meters from the ore. Head to the southern waypoint next. Note that you are now almost 150 meters from the ore. This is too far. Head back towards the waypoint at the antenna. From there, we'll check east and west. Now that you're back at your starting location, head to the waypoint I've set to the east of you. It seems you're now even further away from the ore. Head to the western waypoint and see if we can get closer to it. The ore is now less than 100 meters from our position, making this a good candidate for a digging spot. Now we'll teach you how to orient yourself via angles and altitude. When you wish to continue, activate your flashlight. With your flashlight activated, you will be able to gauge your relative position using the pitch indicator headings it displays on your HUD. This can help you to precisely orient yourself to a heading and keep your digging organized. Note the highlighted data in the top right of your screen. That represents your current altitude. This will help you determine how far to dig and to know your current depth underground. When digging, it is important to do so on an angle near 40 to 60 degrees so you can climb back out later. If it's too steep, you won't be able to climb. You can dig using the scanner tool, directional scanner tool, or the mining tool. Go ahead and dig down towards the waypoint buoy to a depth of 50 meters by clicking or holding your mouse button on the terrain. If you ever get stuck while digging because the hole is too narrow, don't forget that you can use the tool and enlarge the hole around the edges. If you wish, you can activate Auto Dig on your tool by pressing the middle mouse button. Keep digging until you reach a depth of 50 meters. Or appears at various depths based on the value of the resource. Some elements such as coal can be found near the surface, while the rarest types are found deep underground and will require effort to extract. Let's take a break from digging for a few moments and try out a new tool. When you're ready to continue, open your inventory. Locate the icon for the flatten tool within your inventory. Click and drag it to the tool slot and drop it into slot 9. Afterwards, close your inventory. This tool works by flattening the terrain at the target reticle, creating a level surface on which you can walk. This drastically increases the speed at which you can dig horizontally, and will improve your efficiency. With wisely chosen talents, the flatten tool can make larger tunnels than the mining tool on its own, and it can keep your tunnels perfectly flat. Use this tool to flatten the bottom of your mined tunnel. You'll notice the difference immediately. Do this a few times. We'll continue once you've flattened enough ground. Through use of this tool, you'll be able to create massive and organized mining tunnels. Using the flatten tool by aligning yourself to one of the cardinal directions on your minimap makes it both fast and easy to locate and to set up your own tunnels without becoming lost and confused. We're getting close to the ore now. Please activate the scanner tool. Press Tab and click the scanner graph. Great. Now activate short range mode. The short range mode of the scanner is extremely useful when you have narrowed down the distance to your target. Its maximum range is a mere 50 meters, which allows for much greater precision and efficiency. You can also quickly change range outside of the UI by simply holding the modifier key and using the mouse wheel. Press Tab to unlock your HUD, and let's see if you can get even closer to your ore. Try wandering a few meters. Try using manual scan a few more times while you wander and note the position of the ore. When you wish to move on, reach the waypoint buoy by digging or flattening terrain and will continue. Now that we've closed in on some ore, we'll need to pinpoint its exact location. Activate your directional scanner I've highlighted for you. When underground and at close range to your target, or it can often be difficult to tell precisely which direction to dig to locate it. That's where the directional scanner comes into play. When equipped, any ore your reticle detects within 35 meters will be detected. With talents, the range can be increased to 50 meters. As you move the targeting reticle around, you'll eventually notice bars that shrink and grow on your scanner graph and a telltale sound of static. This indicates there is ore in the direction you are currently pointing. The larger the graph peak, the closer it is. A tip: try to scan slowly, and in a zigzag pattern. This is more efficient than randomly pointing in different directions, and will have a higher degree of success. Now, try scanning your current location using the tool. We'll continue when you've detected a source of ore. There it is. You found the direction to mine. Scan and dig until you see a green outline on some terrain. This represents the ore you're here to mine. To collect ore, switch to your mining tool. Clearing terrain around the ore will reveal more of the vein. To gather ore, place your targeting reticle on the highlighted vein. Then, hold down the mouse button. Your brush will start purple and slowly increase in size. When you are happy with the radius, simply let go of the mouse button, and the ore will be collected if you have room in your nanopack. If you are out of room, no ore will be harvested. But you can adjust the size of your mining brush on the mining tool. Larger brushes allow you to carve chunks out of terrain at a much faster pace when precision is not needed. To continue, resize your mining brush. Press the modifier key and use the mouse wheel to do this. If you're having trouble resizing your brush, try aiming at some terrain first. You now have an understanding of how to use the mining tool, scanner tool, flatten tool, and the directional scanner tool. The last step in our tutorial is for you to collect the ore. Go ahead and collect a volume of 500 liters from the vein. Remember to release the mouse button once the mining circle is at maximum size to complete gathering a volume. You've proven you're able to locate and harvest raw minerals efficiently, and it is my judgment that you are ready to tackle this for real. To exit this module, head back to the surface and use the teleporter. I've marked it for you. Good luck using your newfound mining skills, and don't forget that improving your mining talents will improve your performance immensely. Welcome back home. It is time to build your base, where you will be able to deploy containers, resurrection nodes, or surrogate VR stations. When you are ready, find a spot you like, go into your inventory and double-click on the core unit you just bought. You will be able to deploy it on the ground. If your territory is still in a pending state, just wait a few minutes. Welcome to the hover piloting tutorial. Approach the provided speeder. Sadly, the tank is empty, but there is a dispenser with fuel in it. Get some nitron fuel from the dispenser with the interact key. Now get your fueling tool, typically the sixth item in the toolbar. Open your inventory to equip the nitron fuel, then fill the tank completely. Look at the pilot's seat and hold the interact key to enter. Hover controls are simple. You can turn left with the left key. Try this now. Similarly, holding the right key will make your vehicle turn right. Try it. Hold the forward key to accelerate and let go to brake automatically. Now that you have the basics down, head towards the waypoint. Turn left towards the new waypoint. Notice inertia will keep your vehicle traveling in one direction until propulsion catches up. Slow down and go towards the structure for a new challenge. You can brake and go in reverse with the backwards key. In order to go higher, hold the jump key and press forward. Take your time and reach the next platform. Hover vehicles can sustain drops from reasonable heights without damage. Reach the next objective. When in a hover vehicle, you have to be mindful of large obstacles. You will not be able to hover over most of them. Build up speed for a jump ahead. Go full speed past this waypoint. Hold the sprint button to go full speed. Climb that ramp as fast as you can and keep going straight. Obstacles will damage your vehicle if you hit them at high speeds. Go to the exit building. Congratulations, this completes your basic ground piloting tutorial. Press the interact key while looking at the teleporter to exit the tutorial. Welcome back home. It is time to build your base, where you will be able to deploy containers, resurrection nodes, or surrogate VR stations. When you are ready, find a spot you like, go into your inventory and double-click on the core unit you just bought. You will be able to deploy it on the ground. If your territory is still in a pending state, just wait a few minutes. Welcome to the atmospheric piloting tutorial. Take some scrap and spare fuel from the dispenser in case you get into a crash. Approach the provided airplane. Hold the interact key while looking at the cockpit to enter the plane. Retract the landing gear with the gear key. You can look around while piloting, but mind what is in front of you. Accelerate to 100% by scrolling the mouse wheel up. Pull the nose up with the backwards key. Reach an altitude of 800 meters. The altitude is highlighted on the top right of your screen. Nose down with the forward key. You can yaw with the left and right keys. Be careful, as using this to turn around could make your plane lose lift and altitude. Using the roll keys you can turn on your axis, perfect to turn around or do acrobatic maneuvers. Let's try simple level flight. Keep an eye on your altimeter, maintain an altitude around 800 meters and reach the waypoint. Careful not to hit the structure. Atmospheric vehicles are excellent at long-distance travel. They consume more fuel than hover vehicles but have the obvious advantage of being unhindered by terrain. You might also choose to buy a space-worthy shuttle to completely bypass atmospheric friction, but the fuel cost to breach atmosphere is much higher. All vehicles have a trajectory computer to help you. To turn it on, press the trajectory key, and cycle between the three modes. The instrument I marked with an arrow in your cockpit measures your airspeed. In the case of this particular vehicle, it is a good idea to keep it above 200 kilometers per hour until we land, to maintain lift from the wings. This next instrument is your altimeter. In this case, we measure altitude from sea level and not from ground level. Keep this in mind when you pilot your own vehicles. This gauge on the bottom left is the atmospheric fuel gauge. Just like hover vehicles, atmospheric vehicles use nitron fuel. You can view your ship from the outside by pressing the cycle camera button. This is particularly useful in the landing land phase. For now, let's stay in the third-person view for the remainder of this flight. Let's align your vehicle with the landing pad, fly through the next waypoint, and keep going west. When you feel ready, head to the waypoint to start to prepare landing. Lower your altitude to 600 meters. We will need to see some cabin instruments. Go back in first-person view by pressing the cycle camera button until you are back inside. Begin to slow down by cutting throttle to 50% with the mouse wheel. Maintain at least 400 meters of altitude and get within 6 kilometers of the landing pad. Lower your altitude to 400 meters and keep going down. Get within 3 kilometers of the pad for the next step. To do so, follow the waypoint. Reduce your throttle to 30% with the mouse wheel to glide towards the waypoint for a safe landing. You are close. When you are over the pad, I will ask you to brake. Try to maintain an altitude of at least 200 meters. It might be a good time to switch to third-person view with the cycle camera button. As soon as you see that you are over the landing pad, use the brake key to slow down faster. Land close to the objective. Hover engines will float your vehicle on the pad so you can use some thrust to get closer. Great, now immobilize your plane by holding the brake key. Once you are immobile, deploy your landing gear with the gear key. Congratulations, this completes your basic flight tutorial. Exit the plane by holding the interact key. Welcome back home. It is time to build your base, where you will be able to deploy containers, resurrection nodes, or surrogate VR stations. When you are ready, find a spot you like, go into your inventory and double-click on the core unit you just bought. You will be able to deploy it on the ground. If your territory is still in a pending state, just wait a few minutes. Welcome to the industry tutorial. First, let's show you how your NanoCrafter works. The NanoCrafter is part of every suit and can make all sorts of basic parts and elements directly in your inventory. Take a batch of the required. Open your NanoCrafter with the crafting key. This button filters out recipes that require a specific element like a glass furnace or an electronics industry. It only keeps the recipes that are possible to make in the NanoCrafter that you always carry with you. Click on the Show Only Doable button to see what you can craft with the items in your inventory. Out of the possible recipes, select the small assembly line. The highlighted part of the interface shows you what ingredients are necessary for the recipe you selected. Notice under each ingredient the quantity currently available in your inventory and the required amount. Click the Add to Queue button to start making the assembly line. Click on the Close button to exit this UI. Your NanoCrafter will continue making what we selected while I show you how industry units work. Industry is necessary because your NanoCrafter cannot create every recipe. Go get a batch of materials from the dispenser in the next room. First, we need to add the basic material needed by the recipe. Open the highlighted container. To move the chromite, drag and drop it from your inventory on the left side to the container. Click on the Close button to exit this UI. The highlighted industry unit is a refiner. It transforms base ores into pure materials that can then be used in various recipes. Use the Interact key to open its UI. Click on the Recipes button in the left bar to see what is possible with this. Click on the Show Only Doable button to see what the refiner can create with what is in the input container. Select the Pure Chromium recipe. Click the Apply button to confirm this recipe. The Start button will make the current industry unit run infinitely as long as the right material is in the input container. The Finish and Stop button will make sure the recipe is created only once. Press it to continue further. This portion of the user interface is where the input containers are shown. Notice that there is an indication in liters to see how much material these containers hold. On the right side you can see where the output containers are linked. Similarly to the left side there is an indicator in liters that shows how full the containers are. This is the products area. Note that some industries have byproducts that are still very useful in other recipes. For example, oxygen is critical in many types of fuel, and pure iron can be used for building as well as steel products. Some materials can only be treated by an industry unit. For example, your nanocrafter cannot transform chromite into pure chromium. Similarly, you'll see in the next step that in order to transform some pure materials into usable honeycomb materials, you need a honeycomb refinery. Also, while your nanocrafter can create a wide variety of parts for your assemblies, the more advanced parts require processes that do not fit in the nanocrafter and require a specific industry unit. Assemblies themselves can also only create the next size up of assembly, and certain elements require a minimum size of assembly to produce. For example, all industry units are created with a medium assembly line. Now that the process is finished, close the user interface by clicking the button or with the. This industry unit is a honeycomb refinery. It transforms pure materials into honeycomb materials for use in building. Use the Interact key to open. Click on the Recipes button to see the possible recipe. Under the search bar, first click on Materials. Open the Honeycomb Materials Open the Pure Honeycomb Material. Open the Chromium category. Select the black pattern chromium recipe. Click the Apply button to confirm this recipe as the refinery's task. Now start the refiner to manufacture. Honeycomb materials are created relatively quickly since the material was already purified. You can close the interface, the refinery will finish the work. Open the output container. To collect the completed honeycombed material, drag and drop it from the container to the right to your inventory. Click on the Close button to exit this UI. Honeycombed materials like these are the key to construction. Both the refiner and honeycomb refinery are made using a medium assembly line. Now let's learn how to link containers to an assembly line and how to manufacture a medium assembly line from a small. Get a batch of materials from the highlighted dispenser. Aim at the highlighted assembly and enter build mode by pressing the build toggle key. Activate the link tool, typically the sixth tool in the build mode toolbar. Create a link from the left container to the assembly, this will be the input. If you don't know how to link, there is an info button to your right. Create a link from the assembly to the second container, this will be the output. Turn build mode off using the build toggle key, then open the highlighted input container. Put all 4 stacks of parts required for the medium assembly line in the container. Close the input container. Now that the input container has everything it needs, use what you learned so far to start the recipe for a medium assembly line. Good job! This concludes your introduction to industry and crafting. You can leave now by pressing the interact key on the highlighted teleporter in the next room. Welcome back home. It is time to build your base, where you will be able to deploy containers, resurrection nodes, or surrogate VR stations. When you are ready, find a spot you like, go into your inventory and double-click on the core unit you just bought. You will be able to deploy it on the ground.